Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to Day 3 of Faculty Development Program on National Education Policy 2020, organized by ATME College of Engineering, Mysuru. I am Nasreen Fatima, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering. I take this honor to introduce our speaker, Mr. Ravichandra. Mr. Ravichandra V is a global leader with a track record spanning more than 30 years, having worked in India, London, and Bahrain. He worked from banking to shared services and is currently into education and consulting. His core competencies include leading large remote multicultural teams, developing and executing business relevant strategies, and developing key talents. He brings a strong business background and having worked with top business leaders in over 100 countries, he understands the complexities of managing business today, the disruptions that are happening, and how business model needs to adapt to continue to be successful. He is the founder director of Smriti Academy, a CBSE school, and Florence Academy, a 17-year-old and leading Montessori school in Bangalore. He is also on the special committee formed by Government of Karnataka in education to work with central government to implement National Education Policy 2020 in Karnataka. He is the chairperson of eVidyaloka Trust, a non-profit social enterprise into remote education for rural children in India. eVidyaloka currently operates digital classrooms, mobile applications, and teach through television in 155 districts across 11 states to teach almost 25 lakh children. He is the founder CEO of Alive Consulting that is into leadership development and design thinking. He works with various large corporates like Schneider Electric, Singate, KPMG, Capgemini, Sutherland Global, ANZ Bank, Lafrance and Fidelity Investments to name a few. He is also an independent director of Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. Earlier in his role as Senior Vice President of HP's Global Business Service, he was responsible for developing the company's shared service strategy and its global operating model. He led a team of 18,000 people spread across 14 global centers and located in 58 countries. By virtue of being the senior-most person in India, he was also the chairman of HP in India. His qualification includes BCom, Fellow Chartered and Certified Accountant from UK, and Associate of Cost and Management Accountant from UK. He has completed a program for CFOs with Wharton Business School USA and the certification exam for independent directors from Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, New Delhi. He is a fellow member of Institute of Directors. Thank you for accepting our invitation and being part of the event, sir. I hand over the session to you.
Thank you so much, Nasreen. I think I wrote too much for my introduction. I should have shortened it. I was getting bored myself, so I'm wondering what others would have gone through. I'd like to thank ATME for giving me this opportunity to speak to this very august audience. And specifically Dr. Bhageshri, Dr. Pratibha, Dr. Mohammed Nadeem, and Mrs. Nasreen Fatima. I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. So what I'll try and do, and I will definitely not be able to take 1 hour on this topic, but since this is a smaller group, I think we can also have a little bit of question and answers session. What I'll try and do is first talk a little bit about eVidyaloka and what we do. And the reason I'm doing that is, so it'll give you a clear idea in terms of how we can motivate our children to do something different for this world and for this country. So I'll talk on eVidyaloka first, what we do and how we reach out to children in different parts of this country. Also then cover off what is social consciousness and why that is needed, ever so needed, has always been needed, and why it continues to be needed as we push through certain changes that we want in the next generation. So I'll start by sharing a quick PPT So eVidyaloka is an NGO that we started 11 years ago. What we see as online education now actually was started by us 11 years ago, and we started testing it in villages and in village schools. Our whole idea was to create a knowledgeable and an empowered rural India. And we believed that that can be done through quality education. So we took the route of education actually. It's a ATG trust, and the focus area for us is rural India education and transforming rural India at the grassroots level by providing very, very high quality education. So in short, actually, we are looking at nation building. What are the two problems we are trying to solve? One, we are trying to see how do we ensure that there are more teachers available for this in this country. So there is a shortage of 1.2 million teachers in this country as we speak. And this is something which the government itself has accepted, that there is such a shortage. And the second problem is the quality of learning experiences. As we move away from cities into more and more remote areas, the quality of education is not as it should be. So first is the shortage, and second is the quality. So we looked at it 11 years ago, and we were wondering, what is it that we should be doing? How do we get people like each one of you in this audience to teach to children in villages? So when we looked at it, we said, one, nobody is willing to travel to the village and sit there and live there and teach. Or if they just do one or two guest lectures like what I'm doing now, it won't solve the problem. So we decided that we'll use technology, link the villages and get a teacher or a volunteer, say from a city, to teach these children from anywhere, during any time, at any place. So that was the thing that we dreamt of, and we started off eVidyaloka. I've set this context, 1.2 million shortage basically, but the primary thing is there are schools in this country where you have 200 children and one teacher, or which is really unfortunate. And 50% of our rural children drop out between 5th and 8th grade. And when they reach 5th standard, they can't even read or understand what was taught to them in 2nd standard. That this is the reality of the situation. So when we looked at it, we said, okay, let us focus on 5th to 8th standard. We will only do English, maths and science. We will do it in the local language. We had to teach in the local language because that was the medium of instruction. And we said we will use volunteers who understand our cause, who know that what it is for the child to struggle without good quality education or a good teacher. So forget a good teacher, a teacher itself. So we said that let's try and link it through technology. So we started using Skype. We also started building our own technology platform, which we called Jupiter. And Jupiter is Guru, as you know, so there was an obvious connect over there. So we said we will use our platform, and we started building our platform, with which we were able to do the admin functions like take attendance, find out who all are participating in our class, what are their names, and give them tests online. All these things we were able to do starting about 11 years ago. So the first model that we tried was the digital classroom model. So you can see this photo. It shows how we set up a TV, a computer, a UPS, and a very powerful mic and camera on top of the TV, if you notice, where the children can see the teacher. The teacher is on the left-hand side of this slide, where the teacher is sitting there. She or he can see the children and sharing content and teaching. So this is what we started, a very simple model, and we're able to reach at that time close to 25,000 children. Now what we did was, with the pandemic, when the pandemic hit us, we didn't know how to reach the children because the schools were closed. So the digital classrooms shut down. So we set up our own app, and we started teaching children through the mobile app. So if you look at the top right-hand corner of this slide, you will see children learning using our mobile apps. You will see one child sitting on the village machan and actually reading there, or say you have 5 children in the other photograph who have propped a mobile up against a stone which they have placed on a table, and this is a village scene in Uttar Pradesh where they are sitting and learning. So we started teaching this way, but we realized that a lot of children didn't have access to smartphones. That was one. Second, there were a lot of children, while they were listening to our content, which was pre-recorded, or a live session that went through our app, we realized that some of them weren't understanding what we did. So we started using teachers in the villages and said, use our app, use our content, and start teaching the children. And we will also help by providing some live teachers over there. So we had assisted learning options with the app, where one teacher would take 4 or 5 children in her village, his village, and then sit with them and use our content and also ensure that learning happens. Then we also looked at, okay, even this was reaching out to maybe 8,000-10,000 children, which wasn't good enough. So we said, okay, how do we look at it, and can we go through television? And when we looked at television, we said, okay, every state has its own content through television. So why will some child want to view our television channels? And then we realized that if we go through the cable TV and we are able to provide our content in the style of how we teach village children, which we've understood what the village children lack, and how is it that we can reach content to them in an interesting way over these last 11 years. So we created our own content and we started beaming it through television. We did a test in Dharwad district in Karnataka as the first test. And within 2 weeks, I had around 6,000 children, and I was surprised. And by the 3rd week, it was 30,000 children. So I said, okay, what's happening? And within a month, it was 1 lakh. I extended it to Andhra, and within 2 weeks in Andhra Pradesh, there were another 2 lakh children. And then we extended it to Tamil Nadu. Now we are in that. Plus, we are also in Maharashtra. We have just started Jharkhand. We have one village in Rajasthan. We touched close to 25 lakh children today. And we give them worksheets, we give them workbooks, which we send by courier. And we started teaching through app, through television. Today, over 50,000 children learn through our app. And most of them are tribal children who do not have access to any schooling, or their schools have been shut. So we've been able to reach close to 25 lakh children. We have a team, and why I'm sharing this team is it's very interesting because 3 of us in this team, Venkat, Rishi, and Ram, are BITS Pilani. They are engineers. And our CEO, Brinda, and myself, we are accountants. We have a finance background and a banking background. We have come together for this cause, and we've been around for 11 years in this. So what is eVidyaloka today? We are teaching close to 25 lakh children across 155 districts in 6 languages: Hindi, Bengali, Marathi, Telugu, Kannada, Tamil. I have over 2,500 volunteers. Now the fun is these volunteers sit in 20 different countries across 280 plus cities. And they're teaching, they're all Indians teaching in the local language. We have some of the most difficult terrains stretching from Uttarakhand right through to Tamil Nadu. We have some really remote villages, which are tribal villages. And when we run the classroom model, we have brought the cost down to around 10 rupees per day per child. So if you can donate a cup of chai to me today, I will educate a child today. That's what it is. And when I reach children through television, then the cost drops significantly lower. Also the app, the school which we have created using our app, these are digital schools. And today using digital schools and assisted learning with volunteers and doubt clearing sessions which we run twice a week for children, we are able to bring the cost down to even 3 rupees per day, per child per day. So it's a significant way to reach our children in far-flung areas. What we also do is connect with local NGOs who we call as community connectors, so that we are able to reach all these districts, establish credibility in those villages so that they decide to see our content and allow our live teaching programs at those villages. And the only way to do that is to engage someone at the village to do that. And we have over 215 class assistants today who help deliver all these education to these 25 lakh children. The grassroots level impact has been significant. Now, what's most important in this is that the dropout rates at the village level just came down. Jharkhand, which had dropout rates of, dropout rates of more than 50% in their villages, it has now reduced to less than 20%. The sheer learning levels, when you look at literacy and numeracy, is up greater than 30%. We did scholarship coaching for some children so that they could look at national scholarships, and more than 30% have started getting scholarships now as they go into higher studies. We experimented earlier last year where the Andhra Pradesh Tribal Welfare Organization, which is part of the government, reached out to us and said, hey, can you help coach our tribal children? We have 12th standard children. Can you help coach them for IIT? And I was quite surprised. I said, I don't do these things. I normally am just reaching out to 5th to 8th grades. So they said, hey, our department has been here for about 10 years, and we've been trying to teach children and coach them so that they can get into IIT. Around 139 children are there in tribal areas. This year we are not even able to reach them or coach them. We're just reaching them online, and it's becoming extremely difficult to coach them online to take a shot at the entrance exams for IIT and NIT. So can you help us? So I reached out through our volunteer network, and some of them came forward and said, 5 of them actually came forward and said, we will start the program. So the exam was in August, the JEE, Joint Entrance Exam, plus the NIT exams, I think, were in August and September. And we started our coaching in April, May. And within 3 months, the first thing that we did was build confidence in these children. And we said, and we gave them techniques on how to handle the exam. Some of these children were really good. In fact, they had the knowledge. Only thing was they didn't know how to approach the exam. So we gave them the techniques. Now, I was surprised to see the results when it came. 29 children made it to IITs, of which 12 are girl children. A tribal girl child getting into IIT, unheard of in Andhra Pradesh. Till now, they had not got it going, and this time has happened. Close to 60 children, 60 children actually made it to NITs, National Institute of Technologies. So 89 out of the 139 got into the top engineering institutes in the country, which actually we felt very happy that God is giving us this opportunity to be of some help to someone and actually making us better human beings. So I think that's where the crux of all this is when it comes to it. So our new program is VidyaGanga. We have launched it. It will be a grassroots level movement. We are working now. We've been called by the central government to work with them in what's called as their NDR program. We are doing that. This will help not just provide education to children. It will help volunteers to teach anywhere, from anywhere, anytime. Our volunteers can reach, anyone can reach through our platform, any child across this country. And we'll also be creating livelihoods. So just imagine this to be like you want to take, let's say you want to take IIT coaching classes for children in your village, you know they don't have access, or just regular tuitions and you know they don't have access to good tuitions, and you want to spend an hour say every 3 days to do that, you can log on to our platform and actually do that. This nation needs, to solve our nation's problem, we need over 30,000 e-Vidyalokas. One is not enough. So we have dedicated our platform, our technology platform, free to the nation. And we are hoping that anyone can come in, log in, and start teaching using our content or using your own content as well. So this brings me to what I believe is social awareness in terms of creating an equitable and inclusive growth. You know that the national education policy is asking for inclusive growth and an education that is completely inclusive. So, and equitable as well. So we are looking at something which is social awareness is all about getting and bringing about in our children why it is important to have equitable and inclusive growth. Why every society in this nation should have opportunities and should have opportunities that are equally available to all of them, so that the nation's resources are equitably shared. How are they able to participate in the shared vision of our nation? And today we realize that we are not able to have a shared vision, and even if we have one, most of the children are not able to participate in that. How can our children understand that every life form has a right to exist? And the fact that the tree that is outside your house, actually half of your lungs rests on that tree. And if they realize that through our education, through our classes, when we teach them that half of our lungs sits on the tree that is outside our homes, why will they cut that tree? How can we ensure that our children understand that every person in this country can become a proud contributor to the economy? Why should somebody ask for free food? Why should they be happy with the government giving them free food, free this, free that? I mean, are you proud when you get something free from the government? You're not. If we are able to get a job and provide for ourselves, and if we can show to our children that that is what we should do, we become proud contributors to the economy. And there is a way to enable a dream for our children. So I always say that when we do something about the problems, we move from social awareness to social consciousness. What is it that as teachers we can pass on to our children, and why is it necessary? So Buddha said this years ago. He said greed seems to be the cause of most of the evils. Today what we do is, you know, in our MBA classes, we are still teaching maximize shareholders' wealth. I mean, this was taught in the 60s and 70s, and you know, when we didn't have a clear understanding of what it is and why is it that we should go beyond shareholders into all stakeholders. When a company comes into being, and when it is accessing resources from the nation, and it is functioning and it is making profits, perfectly fine. I'm not against profits. In fact, I'm for that. We need, I mean, I see the bashing that the Adanis and the Ambanis get every time and from politicians, and these are the same guys who go back to these Adanis and Ambanis for favors, for employment, for setting up their business units in their states. We need these people. We need the Adanis and Ambanis. They are putting their hard work. They are putting their capital to make things successful in this country. They are generating employment. But when they are running their companies, they should take into account the fact that there are so many stakeholders that, that their organization rely upon. It could be the government, it could be the society, it can be the the locality in which that place is there. It can be the people who are working in their organization. It can be the suppliers, their customers. So there are so many stakeholders, and you cannot just say I will maximize the profits for the shareholders at the cost of other stakeholders. I won't name a person who in the US runs a hedge fund, became set up and took over a pharma company and created vaccines, and he has also sold medicines and other things without any scruple for the society. And when they arrested him and they asked him, why are you doing this? He said, I'm doing this to maximize the profits of the shareholders. And that's what my job is. And I will continue doing that. When we teach design thinking, and I see this in even the top schools, the D school, we talk about human-centric design thinking. Design thinking, when you design products, when you design services, when you teach how to design for our customers, it is the people talk about human-centric design. I believe life-centric design is the most important thing. Let me give you an example. So there are these pork and meat manufacturing factories all across the world, and in the US they manufacture basically pig meat, and these are mainly owned by Chinese and have been taken over. There are massive factories over there. What these guys have done is to improve productivity, they give feed to these pigs, and these pigs, which are normally, say, weighing 100 kgs or something like that, or 70 kgs or 80 kgs in a normal pig, these guys have fed them to an extent where each pig weighs 400 to 500 kgs, sometimes 700 kgs. So you can imagine the size of each of these pigs, correct? And they fed them through artificial feeds, which normally pigs don't eat, but they've given them all this highly nutrition, high content of nitrogenous food, so that they become fatter and fatter. And then what these pigs are, and what they do is the pigs' droppings are sold to nearby farmers as for fertilizers. What actually they also do is they create cages in which these pigs are kept, and these cages are exactly the size of the pig, with about a foot on the side and about 6-8 inches above their head. So just imagine the pig. It is standing, and then within 3 weeks it is going to get slaughtered. It is standing in that cage. It doesn't know how to move. So it collapses after some time. When it collapses, it falls on one side. It is lying on one side for more than 2 weeks before it gets slaughtered. So this is how we treat the pig even before. We have designed a cage so that in a given space, you can put as many cages as possible. So you keep the cage exactly the size of the pig, so you can store more pigs. It's called productivity in that terms. And that's how you treat a a life form, another life form, before it gets slaughtered, so that you eat it as food. This is not design. Contrast that with something that happens in the Sundarbans areas in India. So Sundarban areas, the forests are very famous for honey collectors. These people actually go to the forest And you know, when you enter a forest, you won't know where you are, correct? So they go to a forest and they first look for a particular place where honeybees would have formed their hive. What they do is they do a prayer first, they sing a song, and then they light a fire and hold the smoke, the honeybees disperse. They cut 3/4 of the hive, leaving behind 1/4. They sing another song and they walk off with the honey. So BBC was actually taking a video of what they were doing. So the BBC interviewer asked that person, why did you sing a song in the beginning? He says, I'm singing a song so that I'm able to thank the honeybees and also tell them that I'm really sorry that I'm going to disturb them from their homes. I'm not going to kill them, but I'm going to disturb them temporarily. Then he said, okay, you did that, you dispersed the honeybees with the smoke. You cut out 3/4, but you did not cut the full hive. Why did you leave 1/4? Because you're not productive then. If you had productivity in mind, you would have cut the full hive and taken it and gone. Why did you leave behind the 1/4? So he says, look, the true productivity is not what you say. I leave 1/4 because that is the chance for the honeybees to come back and build their hive again, and they will do it. And for me, just imagine if I have taken out the whole hive, now when I come back to the forest next month, I'm trying to figure out where to collect the hive from. I have to go searching. Otherwise, I have marked this space. When I come back next month to this place, exactly, the whole hive is available again. So I'm not wasting time searching for a new hive. So what is productivity? Is it cutting off full 100% or leaving behind something? And then he turns around and asks, okay, why did you sing the song at the end? He said, I thank the honeybees for being there for me and for providing me with a livelihood. And they have worked hard so that I can make money. He says, I thank them. It's true respect for life forms. Go ahead, let us teach our children to make money. Let us teach our children to do business. Let us we need not feel ashamed to make money. Let us teach them what it is. But let us also teach them that everything in life is about being centric to life. Every life form has a right to exist. And if we decide to live in harmony with this, then what happens is you move towards a level of social consciousness that is completely different from what we are teaching today. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to request questions. Please, anyone who's raising your hand, you can ask the question, please. Someone's raised a hand there. Please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, we have enabled the mic. Dr. Madhu, you can.
Yeah, congratulations, Dr. Ravichandran. Wish you all a happy Republic Day.
Thank you.
It has been a pleasure that I'm hearing such a beautiful lecture in the background of National Education Policy 2020. Probably this is the first lecture I'm so happy about, that somebody like like you have done really great in terms of eVidyaloka and something like that. My question is, like, what is the motivation behind you starting this? Because even the central government, even state government, private institutions in the country are really running behind their own lacunae, yet not overcoming through. So this is really a great initiative by you. So what was the motivation to start eVidyaloka, which is so successful as of today, as you have? Yeah, that's my question, sir.
Yeah. Actually, I should give the credit to starting to two of my mentees who I used to mentor. Both of them worked in Microsoft. One is a technologist, one is a finance person. He's one is Venkat and one is Satish. Both of them started it. eVidyaloka. One wanted to make a huge difference. He quit his job and actually started this. The other person had a vision because his mom always wanted education to reach everyone, and he was part of that starting team. I joined the team within a year of them starting, and I joined the team because for me, I was very clear. My dad had, when we were having a discussion with my dad as I started looking at a career and started working, he said, Ravi, remember only one thing, that 2 months of your salary should go towards charity. And you should learn to live with 10 months of your earnings. This was his thing. And he said, you choose the cause. And I had seen him do that in his lifetime. He learned to live with 10 months of his income, and 2 months always went for some cause that was dear to him. I chose education as a cause, and from 83 onwards, I've been doing something with regard to education. I had a chance to, and I was blessed that, eVidyaloka came my way as soon as it was started. And I had a chance to start participating in that. I'll say that actually, I'm lucky to be part of eVidyaloka, and the children are giving me this opportunity to make me a better human being. That's what drives me. And that's what drives me even today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your kind words.
Mr. Ravi Kumar has a question. Please, sir.
Yes, good morning, sir, and good morning, everyone, and happy Republic Day for everyone. Sir, I'm actually inspired by your talk here, but you have given importance to all forms of life. That is the phrase which I completely respect and believe. And as a faculty member in a higher education institution, I have seen students. I hope all can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. The students, when I interact with the students, I find this sense of what we are talking about today, the social responsibility or respect for each forms of life or charity, all the noble things is greatly missing in them. I don't know whether they have been exposed to that or they have been taught that or they have been practicing it. I think the parents has got a major role to play here. That's what my belief, because as we know, charity begins at home. And many parents, they have been busy doing their profession or making money or whatever. They fail to just practice it themselves, and maybe by observing them, the way of life they live, the students, the children have started believing in some sort of deviated what do you call values, I say, and they just are confused now. When we talk about that, I can look at their faces and I can see they are confused. Well, what you're telling is not what we have been practiced, or my parents have been practicing, or the society at large. At sometimes, the great peoples, they give less value to these human values. What you have been talking about. Don't you think, sir? My question is, don't you think the parents and the family life also plays an important role in inculcating all these noble values in them?
Absolutely, but I'd also like to add here quickly that whilst we are teachers, we are also parents. So what is it that we are doing to our children? And once we decide how we can give something to our children in the form of exposing them to what what the rest of the society is, why they are possibly lucky to be our children, and they in turn, whilst they have all that they want, they in turn have a duty to ensure that they can help at least one more person. If we as parents, even teachers, if we as parents just tell that to our children, that's enough. Now, we also as teachers have a fantastic opportunity that we have 60, 100 children in our class at any point in time, especially in higher education, and maybe even more. it's a great thing to expose them to such work. Give them as part of your curriculum, give them a project where they will go and work with children at the grassroots level. It could be a slum, it could be a village, it could be anything. It could be conserving forest, it could be conserving water, whatever you want. Give them a project and see how they respond. For example, at eVidyaloka, we actually conduct a thing where close to about 150 schools from both cities and villages participate, 75 in each, and they team up and do projects. In fact, one of the projects was done in Tamil Nadu by a child who looked at how do we save the wastage and reduce wastage in the midday meal scheme. And they worked together, and you will not believe it. They took 6 schools and they realized what was the wastage in those 6 schools. Sorry, not 6 schools, 6 different villages in which different schools were there, multiple schools were there. And for every 6 schools, they were able to save wastage equivalent of what could go to one more school.
Beautiful.
So the children came up with that. And this was awarded by the collector, and the governor of the state actually came then and gave them an award, which, I mean, the recognition is one thing, so that they start working more and more. But what was that if we are able to, as teachers, give them projects that they can work towards, this will make a huge difference. Thank you for the excellent question, sir. Thank you. Mr. Mukesh Kumar, you had a question. But there seems to be no other question, ma'am. So what I think is, I'll through this.
Sir, if I could come again, sir, this is Ravi Kumar again here.
Sure.
Sir, in your mission, is there any way we could contribute to your mission, sir? If you could share with us.
You can help me with volunteers who can teach in local language. It's the biggest thing that you can do. What I'll do is I'll try and take your email ID from Dr. Bhageshri over here and see if I can reach out to you separately.
Yes, sir.
We need people to participate in this so that we can make a difference to the societies in which we live. And honestly, let me tell you that every time I do this, every time I look at this work, it's only making me a better human being. Which means God is giving us this opportunity to become better human beings. We are not creating I'm not creating any difference to the child. Honestly, the child is creating that difference to me, and it's making me a better human. So I think if we view it this way, everything changes. And I want that if we can, as the teaching community, actually convey this message to our children who attend our classes. Give them the opportunity and the leeway, create opportunities for them by actually making projects, giving them things to do, assignments to do, where they get involved in some social activity. Let me give you an example. In my school at Smriti Academy, we have created a digital library, and in that we also have created kiosks where we can record. So what we do is we get textbooks, we take textbooks, and I get children to read the textbook and explain it, and first read the textbook completely and record it. Then what we do is that recorded textbook is sent to blind school. So as they are using Braille to read, if they are also hearing what somebody talking to them, the textbook, it starts registering. Then we spend another hour explaining that also, and the recorded lesson goes there. So you can get your children to take part in such activities. These are small ways in which we can participate, but it makes a huge difference to the recipients. So please create opportunities for our children.
Great, sir. That's great.
And things will change.
Yes, sir. So we'll definitely getting back to you and be in touch with you through Bhageshri Madam, and we'll just look forward to working with you, sir. Let's see how, as you said, even the smallest thing or smallest contributions is making huge difference in the life of some other people is always going to be a noble thing. We would love to do that, and we'll be definitely contacting you soon, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so
much. Hello, sir. Good afternoon. Am I audible? Good morning.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Good morning.
Okay. So my name is Mukesh, and I have a couple of things to talk about. One is that obviously I want to contribute, and I just want to know if you have any kind of course available for something which is below 10 standard, because as per the new curriculum of education, the computers are engaged from standard 1. So I would like to contribute in that area if there is a way I can contribute. And number 2, I'd like to talk about my village in Bihar. Okay. I have my home completely empty in Bihar. Okay, it's like a 9-bedroom house, and there is no one staying over there. And the village is kind of pretty outdated in terms of education. If I would talk about, people are only focused on the government job. Somehow they pass 8, 9, 10, and they get a government job. But the technology, when we talk about, it's completely untouched. So is there something I can do, or we can get together and do something in the village using my premise available, so you don't have an infrastructure cost, you don't have electricity cost, because it's all available at a free. I mean, electricity is there, but it's bare minimum few $100. Okay, so is there any way I can utilize you or your platform to bring there? Obviously there is a cost involved of technology. I was trying to do it from past few months, but because of funding issues I'm not able to do it. So if there is a way, I would like to get connected with you and take it forward. I'll be happy to do.
Absolutely. Same as I told Mr. Ravi Kumar, if you can pass on your email ID. My email ID is raviv@evidyaloka.org. raviv@evidyaloka.org. You can write to me. Let me see, how do I put this in? I'm just trying to see if I can put this in the chat box. Is there a chat available which I can put it into?
Sir, chat is not working.
It's not working.
Mail ID, sir.
It's okay. So if I mean, my mail ID will be shared. You can write to me. I'll connect you through to our CEO, and she will work with you to ensure that we can deliver something for your children in the village. With regard to your first question, I don't have a program. I don't have something that I have put together. But this is a very nice thought that you brought into me. So let me work something out, and once I work it out, I'll send it to you. Thank you. If there are no other questions, I'm handing over the mic back to Ms. Nasreen Fatima.
Thank you, sir. We are happy to see the initiative started by you in uplifting the society and shaping the future of the country by reaching out to rural children, sir. Lots of respect to you, sir. In this selfish world, you are trying to make a difference. As Mr. Ravi Kumar expressed, ATME would be happy to be part of such initiatives. I will reach out to you by taking your email ID, and we'll also try to inculcate such initiatives even in our students. Thank you, sir. With this, we come to the end of the session. Feedback link for the session will be shared on the WhatsApp group. Session 8 will begin exactly from 11:45 a.m. Participants, do join the session just 10 minutes prior. Thank you all for joining. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir.